City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm being joined by the city planner, senior planner from the City of LaGrange, Leigh Threadgill. Leigh, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Alton.
Well, Leigh, you are one busy lady down at City Hall. I know that there's a lot of things going on, a lot of energy, a lot of projects that are going on that I think you and Natalie and other staff members are working on. But again, we just want to kind of bring you in and talk about some of those projects. But before we get started, we know you as a city planner. Talk a little bit about your role, if you don't mind.
Well, a typical planner works primarily in development review, permitting, rezonings, ordinance amendments, special use permits. It has a lot to do with the way that land is used, typically. So traditionally, I've been a land use planner. So I fill a very kind of a regulatory role as it relates to development in the city. But here, you know, we all wear lots of hats, and I've had the good fortune of being able to be involved in a lot of the special projects in LaGrange. So I get to take off my more regulatory hat and put on a much more creative hat and get involved in some of the planning and implementation of special projects in the city.
Absolutely. You know, talking about taking off some of the hats and planning and kind of zoning and stuff of that nature, I know that right now you and some other staff members are working on, along with a consultant, working on a complete rewrite of our zoning ordinance. Talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
That's correct. Our existing zoning ordinance is about 20 years old, so it is in need of an update. It's time, and there's evidence of that in the ordinance itself. In the language, you can tell that it's dated language. So we are working to completely rewrite the zoning ordinance and also to create a much more user-friendly ordinance that not only for developers and for property owners, but also for staff, so that when we're implementing it and administering it, we understand what we're doing. So it'll have a lot more graphic representations of regulations, so that it's very clear what we're going for when we talk about how we want to see things develop moving forward. So we're really excited about getting that done. It's going to end up being about a year-long process. We started around July, and I expect that we'll wrap next summer. So I definitely want the public to keep their ears open about that. We'll be sharing through our various marketing efforts when important dates are for public meetings, so that the public can participate in that process. Okay,
well, very good. Like, if anybody had questions now and they want to give you a call, is that an option for them, Leigh?
Oh, sure. I mean, always. I mean, my phone is always ringing, and I usually try to answer it, or if I don't, I'll get back to somebody very quickly. But yes, absolutely, they can feel free to give me a call.
All right, well, very good. And again, there's so many things going in, I don't really know where to start, but I want to start, I want to talk about the thread, because you've been very instrumental in that since the conception of it almost a year and a half ago now, or maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah, so the Thread Master Plan was adopted in September of 2016, so that was 2 years ago. And the first construction began in March of 2017. So we are going gangbusters, and things are rolling and moving very quickly, and we're on schedule, if not ahead of schedule, per that adopted plan. So we are currently under construction with our third phase, which is on Broad Street. I'm sure everybody's very familiar with it. Major travel route through town, so a lot of folks have had to endure the construction process, but I think things are shaping up really nicely. We're hoping that they're going to be wrapping up there in the next few weeks, and then we're looking to move from that to the Country Club Road segment, and that project was sort of bumped up in priority because of the condition of Country Club Road. So the road itself had begun to degrade, and the city has been working on patching it, but there's also an interest in going ahead and repaving it. Well, we always had a plan to bring the trail out there, so we didn't want to repave it and then come through and change the road cross section and you know, basically waste some of the money that we just spent on repaving it. So we're looking at it holistically. So we'll be creating the trail segment and then doing that repaving work. Okay,
well, very good. And I think it's important too that our viewing audience know that yes, splosh monies go into the development of the thread, but then there's also grant fundings that you apply for and have been awarded on a couple of times, I know, to assist with this. Talk about that, Leigh, if you don't mind.
Sure thing. The Granger Model Mile thread was a recipient of the Recreational Trails Program grant, which was a $100,000 award. So that was something that happened actually prior to the creation of the master plan. So we knew that we wanted to start there because we had money that we had to spend there, and it was a good place to start. It's definitely seen a whole lot of use. It seems to be very popular, even crowded at times. So folks are begging for more miles on the ground, which is a good problem to have. That's what we want. That momentum is building. So we applied last year for they kind of revamped the grant program, and they doubled the grant amount that you would be eligible to win. So now it's a $200,000 maximum award, which we were successful in winning for the LaGrange College Connection segment, which is from Vernon Street south on Panther Way to sort of the end of Cleveland Fields, right at the train tracks. So it's about a half a mile segment that's going to interact with the LaGrange College campus and kind of get off the road itself and go back through to connect Lamar Dodd and Price Theater and the Cleveland Fields. So we're looking forward to getting that project started in the very near future.
Very good. I mean, it's exciting. I know that up in Carrollton, their the Greenbelt goes through the West Georgia campus there.
That's right.
So it's very exciting for the students, to be able to jump on it and kind of navigate their way around the campus and out into the community as well. Let me ask you, what do you see? As it winds through the college campus, do you see the same thing happening, Leigh, or have you guys been talking with the students about it?
Well, we've certainly been talking to some of the faculty and staff at LaGrange College, and we have a young man that's a sort of a local entrepreneur that has started a bike share program already on the LaGrange College campus. So he's sort of ready and waiting for when all those miles that the LaGrange College students would tap into will be on the ground. So we're getting there quickly because we've got the Broad Street section, and then we'll have this Panther Way section, and that's going to be really, I think, very useful for transportation around campus for the students.
Very good. Exciting, isn't it?
Yes.
Again, there's so many things that's going on in our area, Leigh. Again, you are very instrumental in all of those. I'm going to transition now. I want to go to Eastside Master Plan because, not only are we doing things kind of in the downtown area with the Thread, we got the brewery, we got the amphitheater, we got the new hotel, but we're spreading our wings. We're going east and west, we're going north and south. And the Eastside Master Plan is something else that we've been looking at. Talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
So when we knew that we were going to do the Thread second segment through Eastside Park, and we connected multiple recreational facilities and neighborhoods through that part of town. And Eastside Park is sort of the trailhead. At least it's one of the trailheads. There's a lot of parking there. And so when we were looking at bringing the trail through that particular park, we wanted to be sure that we gave attention to Eastside Park, similar to how we did at Granger. So we had created a master plan at Granger Park before we began construction of the trail there. That master plan had a lot of elements on it, and not all of them have been implemented. But when we built the trail, we took the opportunity to go ahead and implement some of those, for instance, the fountains at Granger Pond and rehabilitation of the basketball courts and some additional parking. So the county had already started looking at Eastside Park, and they overlaid the parking lot, and they removed a lot of fencing, and then they put up new fencing around some of the ball fields. So they've done a little bit of a touch-up already. And then from that, we went through a master planning process with several stakeholders in the area and Troup County Parks and Rec. We worked with them too, so that we can start to reimagine how that space might look moving forward. Historically, it was used for recreational programming, and then I think with the construction of Harrison Shuford Field, some of that got moved elsewhere, and now the county's back to Eastside Park, and they're programming the space again, which is wonderful to have people there. And so now, based on that plan that was generated, we have an opportunity to bring additional amenities to those families that might be there for one kid's practice, but they might have two other kids with them, and they might want to go, play on a playground or shoot some hoops or something of that nature. So we're looking at touching that park up, but it's not just amenities. We're starting with sort of the beautification of that space. It'll be landscaping and creating a boundary for it, an identity to it. We really want it to have a presence in the neighborhood, and so we're going to be working on that. Planting season's kind of upon us. It's a little bit delayed. We've had a very warm, unusually warm September and October, but hopefully we'll get some really great weather to begin planting over at Eastside Park soon. So we're looking forward to implementing that plan.
Very good. Now, if some of the viewing audience wanted to take a look at that plan, is it available for them to come down to City Hall or whatever?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it may be on the website. I can't remember if it is not, but if not, we can certainly get it on the website. But yes, and I can, of course, email it or provide, a printed out color copy
design.
if somebody wanted to see it. Sure.
Okay, very good. I want to now transition to the south end of Southbend end of town there, just beyond on the north side of railroad tracks, where a lot of people perhaps have seen the construction going on. Talk about what's taking place there, Leigh, if you don't mind.
So we've had a really awesome partnership and opportunity with the Callaway Foundation, who owns that land. It's about 5 acres in size, and it's just below Wildleaf, just across the New Bull Street reconfiguration. So in that space, there are it's a ganging up of multiple recreational amenities.
Okay.
There's a dog park, a new playground that I think folks have probably seen take some shape. There's some shade structures out there, which is going to be really nice because there's very little tree cover right now. So in the summer it's warm, so I'm really glad to see those shade structures there. There's a new parking area right off Cherry Street, and then the pavilion. They've added a sort of focal point pavilion that is a gathering space. And then there's just a passive green for picnicking or throwing the football or frisbee. And then the skate park, which is the piece of the project that is now under construction. It's kind of a mess. There's a fence around it, and it's a mud pit. And that's the piece that the city has been particularly focused on. The Callaway Foundation through David Barclift and their landscape architect and some of their planning and some other folks have been bringing to life those other amenities.
Okay.
And so now, it's been a conversation and a dialogue between all of us. It really has been collaborative to generate that space into this beautiful, wonderful bookend at the south end of downtown. It's sort of the anchor in the south end, where Sweetland is the anchor in the north. And it's great to have those be these spaces where they're for gathering. And so I'm very excited to see the skate park start to take shape. I think that folks are going to be interested to see what that looks like once it gets built. I don't know that everybody can totally conceive of it, but it's a state-of-the-art concrete skate park, and we were awarded a Tony Hawk Foundation grant for that, which was really quite a feather in the cap of that project. Those are very competitive grants, and just having the Tony Hawk name associated with it says a lot.
Absolutely.
So we're really excited to see that come to fruition.
Absolutely. Well, our time always gets away. We definitely want to have you come back on, because there's a number of things that's still going on in and around town that we definitely want to keep our viewers informed about. And by all means, if you ever have questions about anything or want to visit something, come on down to City Hall, talk with Leigh, talk with any of the staff person there. We'd be more than happy to accommodate you. Leigh, I want to thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Alton.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Week in just a moment.